The weight of morning. The city was waking up around them as Natasha navigated through the empty streets toward Marcus's flat in Mayfair. Alex sat in the back seat with Marcus, his hand warm in hers, watching the gray October dawn paint the buildings in shades of pewter and rose gold. She should have felt relief. Emma was in custody, the leak was solved, Marcus was safe. Instead, she felt hollowed out, scraped clean by exhaustion and the lingering terror of those hours when she'd thought she might lose him. Marcus's thumb traced circles on her palm, a gentle rhythm that anchored her to the present moment. His face was bruised, the split on his lip crusted with dried blood, but his gray eyes were clear and focused on her with an intensity that made her chest ache. "You should stay with me," he said quietly. "Just for today. Sleep. Actually sleep. Not that thing you do where you lie awake planning contingencies." Despite everything, Alex felt her mouth curve. "You've known me for 2 weeks. How do you already know that?" "Because I'm a surgeon. I recognize a chronic planner when I see one." His fingers tightened around hers. "And because I watched you orchestrate a hostage rescue while simultaneously defending your career against false accusations. You don't stop, Alex, but right now, you need to." Natasha caught Alex's eye in the rearview mirror. "He's not wrong. You look like death, darling. Beautiful death, but still death." "Charming," Alex muttered, but she knew they were right. Her body felt like it belonged to someone else. Heavy and unresponsive, running on fumes and adrenaline fumes at that. The thought of going back to her own flat, alone with her thoughts and the memory of Emma's distorted voice on the phone, made her stomach clench. "Okay," she heard herself say. "Just for today." Marcus's relief was palpable. He pressed a kiss to her temple, careful and tender, and Alex closed her eyes against the sudden burn of tears. She'd been so close to losing losing him, before they'd barely begun. Natasha pulled up outside Marcus's building in Mayfair, a converted Georgian townhouse with gleaming black railings and window boxes full of autumn flowers. The porter, a different one from the night shift, nodded respectfully as they entered, his eyes widening slightly at Marcus's battered appearance, but his professionalism keeping him silent. The lift ride to the 4th floor felt endless. Alex leaned against Marcus, feeling the solid warmth of him, the steady rise and fall of his breathing. Real, alive, safe. His flat was exactly what she'd expected, minimalist and masculine, with exposed brick walls, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the street, and furniture that managed to be both expensive and comfortable. Medical journals were stacked on the coffee table next to a half-finished crossword puzzle. A framed photograph on the bookshelf showed a younger Marcus with an older couple, his parents, she guessed, all 3 of them laughing at something off-camera. "Shower first," Marcus said, guiding her toward the bedroom. "Then sleep. Everything else can wait." Natasha squeezed Alex's shoulder. "I'll check in later. Sophie's compiling everything for Richard's meeting with Patricia. Try not to think about it for at least a few hours." "Tash," Alex started, but her best friend shook her head. "No. You've carried enough for one night. Let the rest of us handle the next bit." She looked at Marcus. "Take care of her. And if you hurt her, I have a very specific set of skills involving sequel injections and identity theft." Marcus's mouth twitched. Noted. When Natasha left, the flat fell into silence, broken only by the distant hum of London traffic. Marcus led Alex to the bathroom, all slate tile and chrome fixtures, and turned on the shower, testing the temperature with his hand. "I'll be right outside," he said. "Take your time." But when he moved to leave, Alex caught his wrist. "Stay." Something shifted in his expression, surprise giving way to understanding. He nodded, and they undressed in silence, the intimacy of it different from the urgency of yesterday afternoon. This was about comfort, about reassurance, about being close to another living person after staring into the abyss. The hot water was a benediction. Alex stood under the spray, letting it wash away the grime and fear and exhaustion, while Marcus's hands moved over her shoulders and back with clinical gentleness, checking for injuries she hadn't mentioned. His own torso was a canvas of bruises, dark purple blooms across his ribs where Emma had kicked him, rope burns on his wrists, a nasty contusion on his left shoulder blade. "You need to see a doctor," Alex said, touching the bruises carefully. "I am a doctor." "A different doctor. Marcus, tomorrow." He turned her to face him, water streaming between them. Today, we just exist. No cases, no threats, no Emma Wright, just us. Alex searched his face, seeing the exhaustion that matched her own, the shadow of trauma that would take longer than one night to fade. But underneath it all was something steady and sure, something that made her believe they might actually survive this. Just us, she agreed. They dried off and climbed into Marcus's bed, a massive thing with crisp white sheets and too many pillows. Alex's body went boneless the moment she lay down, every muscle releasing tension she hadn't known she was holding. Marcus pulled her against his chest, his arm a protective band around her waist, and for the first time in days, Alex felt safe. "I thought I'd lost you," she whispered into the dim room. "When I saw that photo of you tied up, I thought—" "I know." His breath was warm against her hair. "I thought the same thing, that I'd never get to tell you." He paused, and she felt him gathering courage. "That I'm falling in love with you. That I have been since that first night at the Painted Bridge, watching you demolish Thomas's terrible dating app logic." Alex's heart stuttered. It was too soon, too fast, too much. But it was also true. She felt it too, that terrifying freefall into something that could destroy her or save her or both. "I'm scared," she admitted. "David broke something in me, and I don't know if I can—" "You can." Marcus's voice was certain. "You're the bravest person I know, Alex. You walked into that warehouse knowing it could be a trap. You fought for your career while someone was actively trying to destroy it. You can do this too." She turned in his arms to face him, seeing the bruises and cuts that marked his beautiful face, the gray eyes that looked at her like she was something precious. "What if I hurt you?" "Then you hurt me. But I'd rather risk that than never try at all." He kissed her forehead, gentle as a prayer. "Sleep now. We'll figure out the rest later." Alex closed her eyes, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. Outside, London was fully awake now. Taxis honking, footsteps on pavement, the city grinding back to life. But here, in Marcus's arms, in this quiet space carved out from the chaos, she could finally let go. She was asleep within minutes. Alex woke to afternoon light slanting through the windows and the smell of coffee. For a disoriented moment, she didn't know where she was. Then memory crashed back. Emma, the warehouse, Marcus safe, the civil suit, and she sat up too quickly, her head spinning. Easy. Marcus appeared in the doorway holding 2 mugs, dressed in gray sweatpants and a t-shirt that showed the full extent of his bruising. "You've been asleep for 6 hours. It's 2 in the afternoon." 6 hours. Alex couldn't remember the last time she'd slept that long. Her phone was buzzing on the nightstand. She'd plugged it in at some point she didn't remember, and the screen showed 17 missed calls and 32 text messages. "Richard called 3 times, Marcus said, handing her the coffee. Sophie called twice. Natasha sent approximately 15 texts asking if you were still breathing. And someone named Patricia Ashworth sent an email marked urgent. Alex's stomach dropped. "I need to." "Drink your coffee first. Whatever it is, 5 minutes won't make it worse." But Alex was already reaching for her phone, dread pooling in her gut. Patricia's email was characteristically blunt. "Miss Morrison, I've reviewed the documentation provided by Mr. Morrison and Ms. Bella Chen regarding the security breach at your chambers. While this explains the source of the leaked documents, it does not address my client's concerns about professional negligence in safeguarding privileged information. Mr. Thornton intends to proceed with a civil suit against Morrison and Blackwood for damages resulting from the breach. My office will be in touch regarding settlement discussions." Alex read it twice, feeling the carefully constructed relief of the morning crumble. They'd solved the leak, stopped Emma, saved Marcus, and it still wasn't enough. Jeremy Thornton wanted blood, and Patricia Ashworth would make sure he got it. "Alex?" Marcus sat beside her, concern creasing his brow. "What is it?" "Thornton's suing the firm." Her voice sounded flat even to her own ears. "For negligence. Even though we identified the breach, even though Emma's been arrested, it doesn't matter. He's going to destroy us anyway." Marcus took the phone from her hands and set it aside. "How much would the settlement be?" "Millions. Maybe enough to bankrupt the firm entirely." Alex pressed her palms against her eyes. 40 years of Richard's work, gone. And it's my fault. I'm the one who brought the Thornton case in. I'm the one who... "Stop." Marcus's voice was firm. Emma Wright broke into your chambers and stole confidential documents. Emma Wright framed you and kidnapped me. This is not your fault. But I should have seen it. The way she looked at you, the questions she asked about us. Alex. Marcus pulled her hands away from her face, forcing her to look at him. You are not responsible for Emma's choices. You are not responsible for Jeremy Thornton's vindictiveness. You did everything right. You investigated, you found the leak, you protected your client's interests. If Thornton wants to sue anyway, that's his choice, not your failure. Alex wanted to believe him, but the weight of it, Emma's betrayal, the civil suit, the knowledge that her relationship with Marcus had been the catalyst for all of it, pressed down on her chest like a physical thing. Her phone buzzed again. Richard this time. Need to discuss strategy. Can you come to chambers at 4? She looked at Marcus, at his bruised face in careful concern, and felt the familiar pull of duty. The case. The firm. The career she'd built at the expense of everything else. I have to go, she said. Richard needs me. Marcus's jaw tightened. You just woke up. You haven't eaten. You're still processing trauma from... I know, but the firm is in crisis, and I'm the reason why. She stood, looking around for her clothes before remembering they were still in the bathroom. I can't just hide here while everything falls apart. You're not hiding. You're recovering. Marcus stood too, frustration evident in every line of his body. Alex, you've been running on adrenaline for days. At some point you're going to crash, and when you do, then I'll crash. But not yet. She met his eyes, seeing the hurt there and hating herself for putting it there. I'm sorry. I know this isn't what you want, but I have to. I know. His voice was quiet now, resigned. You have to save everyone, even when it costs you everything. The words hit harder than any of Emma's threats, because they were true. Alex did try to save everyone, did sacrifice herself on the altar of duty and responsibility and guilt, and she didn't know how to stop. She dressed in yesterday's clothes, now wrinkled and stale-smelling, and called an Uber while Marcus watched from the bedroom doorway. The silence between them felt fragile, like something that might shatter if either of them spoke. I'll call you later, Alex said, pausing at the door. Marcus nodded, but didn't move to kiss her goodbye. Be careful. The Uber ride to Holborn felt longer than it should have. Alex stared out the window at the Monday afternoon crowds. Tourists and business people and students, all of them living lives uncomplicated by kidnapping and lawsuits and impossible choices. She envied them. Morrison Blackwood was quiet when she arrived, the usual Monday chaos subdued by weekend hangovers and autumn malaise. Michael, the security guard, looked up from his desk, his weathered face creasing with concern. Ms. Morrison? Didn't expect to see you today. Heard you had quite a night. News traveled fast in the legal district. Alex managed a wan smile. I've had better. Is Richard in? 3rd floor. Ms. Blackwood's with him. Natasha, of course. Alex took the stairs, needing the physical exertion to clear her head, and found Richard's door open. Both he and Natasha looked up as she entered, matching expressions of concern on their faces. Alex? Richard stood, his solid frame somehow diminished by exhaustion. You should be resting. So should you. Alex sank into the chair across from his desk, feeling every one of her 32 years. I saw Patricia's email. Richard's mouth tightened. Yes, I was hoping we could avoid this, but Thornton's determined to make an example of us. He wants to send a message about law firm security. How bad is it? Alex asked, though she already knew the answer. Bad. His legal team is claiming 7 figures in damages, lost business opportunities, reputational harm, emotional distress. Even if we win, the legal fees alone could cripple us. Richard sat heavily, looking older than his 58 years. I've called an emergency partnership meeting for Wednesday. We need to discuss our options. Natasha reached over and squeezed Alex's hand. It's not over yet. We have evidence that Emma Wright orchestrated everything. Patricia knows the leak wasn't internal negligence, it was criminal activity. Doesn't matter, Alex said dully. We still failed to protect privileged information. That's the bottom line. Then we fight, Richard said, steel entering his voice. We show that we took every reasonable precaution, that Emma Wright exploited personal relationships to gain access, that no security system is perfect. We make Thornton look vindictive and unreasonable. And if that doesn't work, the silence that followed was answer enough. Alex's phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. I'm sorry for what I said. I know you have to do this. Just promise me you'll eat something. Despite everything, she felt her mouth curve. I promise, and I'm sorry too. His response came immediately. Nothing to be sorry for. Come back when you can. I'll be here. She looked up to find both Richard and Natasha watching her with knowing expressions. He's good for you, Natasha said. Even I can see that, and I thought he was a commitment-phobic disaster 2 weeks ago. People can surprise you, Richard said quietly, even when you think you have them figured out. Alex thought of Emma. 7 years of friendship turned to obsession and violence. Yes, they can. Her phone buzzed again. This time, an unknown number. Alex's heart rate spiked before she read the message. Ms. Morrison, this is D.I. Okonkwo. Emma Wright has been formally charged with kidnapping, aggravated burglary, stalking, and theft of confidential documents. She's being held without bail. I'll need your statement tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Scotland Yard, room 34. Another appointment. Another obligation. Another piece of the nightmare that wouldn't end. I need to give a statement to the police tomorrow, Alex said. About Emma. Richard nodded. I'll come with you. We should coordinate our testimonies. And I'll work on the PR strategy, Natasha added. We need to control the narrative before Thornton's team does. Emma Wright's arrest is news. We can use that. They talked for another hour, planning strategy and discussing contingencies, until Alex's exhaustion became too obvious to ignore. Richard finally sent her home with strict instructions to sleep and eat in that order. The Uber ride back to Marcus's flat felt like a surrender. Alex had meant to go to her own place to give him space after the way she'd left, but her fingers typed his address automatically, and she was too tired to argue with herself. Marcus opened the door before she could knock, like he'd been waiting. Come here, he said simply, and pulled her into his arms. Alex broke then, finally, all the fear and guilt and exhaustion pouring out in great, gasping sobs against his chest. He held her through it, one hand stroking her hair, murmuring things she couldn't hear over her own crying. When she finally quieted, he guided her to the sofa and wrapped her in a blanket, then disappeared into the kitchen. He returned with tea and toast, simple, perfect, and sat beside her while she ate. Better? He asked when she'd finished. Alex nodded, feeling wrung out but somehow lighter. I'm sorry, I keep falling apart on you. You're allowed. You've earned it. Marcus tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. And for the record, I meant what I said earlier, about falling in love with you. I know it's too soon, I know we barely know each other, but I feel it too, Alex interrupted. And it terrifies me. Good. If it didn't scare you, it wouldn't be worth having. He kissed her forehead. We'll figure it out, one day at a time. Alex leaned against him, feeling the steady rhythm of his breathing, the warmth of his body. Outside, the October afternoon was fading into evening, the city lights beginning to glow against the darkening sky. Her phone buzzed one more time, another unknown number. Alex's hand trembled as she opened the message. This isn't over, Alexandra. Emma was just the beginning, a friend. The words seemed to pulse on the screen, malevolent and certain. Alex's breath caught, ice flooding her veins. Marcus, she whispered, look at this. He read the message, his face going pale. Who? I don't know. Alex's mind was already racing, analyzing, planning. But someone else knows about Emma. Someone else is involved. We need to call Detective Okonkwo. We will. But first, Alex stood, the exhaustion falling away like a discarded coat. First, I need to figure out who's playing games with my life, because I'm done being anyone's victim. Marcus stood too, his gray eyes fierce. Then let's figure it out, together. Alex looked at him, bruised and beautiful and impossibly stubborn, and felt something shift inside her. Fear, yes, but also determination. Whoever was behind this, whatever they wanted, she wouldn't face it alone. Not anymore. Together, she agreed, and meant it.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.